Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a new video. Before we start today, I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe, like, and comment. We're hopefully going to be making some more content and it'll be coming out very soon. So please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, you know what to do. So guys, as you saw, the Mach 1 is finally back and it's ready to start getting worked on. But since this car has kind of been like a mystery for the past couple years, I'm going to give you guys a little up to speed so you guys know where this car has been and why we haven't been making any videos on it. So we purchased this car about 2 years ago in October of 2017. The car had a really straight body on it. It looked great, but there was no drivetrain in it. The car had an engine, but it was just like sitting in the engine bay. It wasn't bolted down or anything. The engine that was in there was a 351M, which isn't, you know, a great engine, but it had potential to be built into something. We thought about for a while just using that 351M, just bolting it into the car, but we bought 2 different transmissions. We couldn't get them to work, the starters wouldn't line up. So at the end of the thing, we just realized it's probably gonna be better off we just buy a whole parts car and get all the drivetrain. One day I was looking on Craigslist and I found a 1971 Lincoln. We made a video on that. I noticed it had a V8, so I started doing some research, and it turned out the motor had a good amount of horsepower to it. I was surprised to see the motor actually had 365 horsepower with 500 foot-pounds of torque. For those of you that don't know, the early 460s are essentially just a 429 with a longer stroke. And since these 71 Mustangs came factory with a 429, we could just bolt this motor right in there. Went and picked up the car. I think the guy was wanting like $1,000 for it, but we gave him like $700 and we took the car home. Once we pulled the motor out of the car, we resold just the body of it for like $500. So we got our whole drivetrain for like $200 for this car. Once we had our drivetrain, we were ready to start putting the engine and transmission into the 71 Mustang. And although my brother and I have some experience with motor swaps and working on cars, this was simply too big of a task for us to handle. Welding in motor mounts, power steering lines, all the wiring, it was just too big of a task for me and my brother at that time. So we found a small mechanic in my town that actually agreed to do the swap for a really reasonable price. It was great. So we took it to him and he started the build. It took him a couple months to get the motor swapped in, but when it got done, it looked great and it was worth the wait. Once we had the car back, it ran, but it just needed all the brakes redone. Brakes were locked up, calipers were ruined, and brake lines were leaking. I spent the next couple weeks rebuilding brake lines, replacing brakes, rebuilding the drum brakes, adding new master cylinder. That's what I was up to for the first couple weeks after I got the car. But eventually we had the brakes completely done, and the car was supposed to be drivable. So we're going to cut to the footage of that now, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, we got the car running now. We're just going around the block real quick, so I think everything should be fine. There's only one way to find out, and it's to drive this thing. Okay, so we had the car running, we were ready to drive it. I put it into drive and it doesn't do anything. It's like it's sitting in neutral. So I'm just messing with the shifting linkage, trying to make it work. It's not going anywhere. Finally, I hop out of the car, I check the transmission fluid, and the thing's bone dry. So apparently, the guy that fixed the car didn't put it in there. So we're gonna go pick that up, and then hopefully it's not too dark to drive it when we get back.